Connor, help me. What is this?
Well, this is 372 pages we'll never get back, Mike.
Oh, okay.
It's the you meant the podcast, right? Not the catchy theme song?
I did. I meant the podcast itself. What are we doing? What the hell?
This is the podcast where we read books we are not expecting to like. We, of course, being me, Connor Listoka, and you, Mike Nelson, and we're finishing up a book 11 today, which is called Moon People by Dale M. Courtney. And
boy,
finishing it up, kind of finishing it up, but you really get the sense that that Moon People, the slim volume I'm holding in my hand right now, the 79-page volume, it's sort of like a Kill Bill type of thing, or like the last Twilight movie. For a while there was the trend, the last Harry Potter movie, where they really just had one movie. They decided to make it into two, or in this case three, just to cash in. I don't think anyone ever pretended otherwise.
Yeah, it's, maybe it's like the Lord of the Rings. Was it Ralph Bakshi? Is that the animator?
I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because
is he in that dead zone for you?
Well, it's like one of those things where I've just seen it, but I've never really said it out loud.
I think it's Bakshi, but
it's not Bashki.
Yeah, everyone was excited. A high school nerd, like there's a Lord of the Rings film, and then we went to see it, and it did not say it's only going to cover a small portion of the first book and just end in the middle of it. So that was a crashing disappointment. This, however, he can end it wherever he wants, and I am fine with that.
Sure,
so
yeah.
I'm not complaining about it. I wouldn't do it that way myself. But hey, he ended it, so thank you.
Yeah, it's sort of like the end of the book. I mean, we're going to spoil it for you, but it ends, just sort of like all of his chapters ended, just mid sentence, mid conversation, mid action. And presumably that's where book 2 is going to pick up, but we're not going to have the tidy resolution you might be hoping for at the end of this one. But it's a journey to get there. It has been a journey, and he continues not to disappoint as we finish this final third.
I would like to continue the high-minded and high-toned comparisons and compare him to Jack Kerouac, and this may be apocryphal that he wrote his books on one continuous roll of paper, so he didn't have to replace it, so he could just keep hammering away and smoking and doing heroin. I don't think that Dale M. Courtney does that, but I think that he just wrote one long thing and then afterwards just took the scissors to the giant roll of paper and said, here's the end of book 1, and here's the end of chapter 1, and whatever. Yeah,
there's definitely, having put books up on Amazon before, when you're assembling your paperback, you can sort of see what your costs are going to be based on, it's pretty much based on the trim size, as they call it, the size of the pages, and then the amount of pages in the book. So it would not surprise me if, for whatever the unconventional trim size of Moon People is, if 79 pages was some sort of cutoff between getting, like $6 a book and $3 a book. And, he could be he could be a genius in that respect, or he just...
So you think he was taking it, putting it into a shopping cart and taking it back out to get it to the proper amount?
Well, there's, weirdos who put, who will take like Wikipedia articles and just put them into a book because they figured out that, if you can just, like the people who take public domain books like Eye of Argon or whatever, or a White Worm. So those guys are making bank based on the book sales. And I'm sure there's forums who are instructing you the best way, that if you're going to take a crappy public domain book and make it into a unreadable paperback, like what the best way is to maximize your bank.
So he's hanging out on those forums like, I don't even have to steal. I'll write my own terrible public domain book.
It's going to take less time than it would to copy and paste Larry the White Worm.
The long con from Dale M. Courtney.
It is. It's paying off. 12 years after he published it. He's, that would be the first question I'd ever have if we talked to one of these guys, Dale M. or Dwight David, just being like, so when the first auto deposit for thousands of dollars hit your bank account out of the blue, what did you think about that? Like, did you look into this? Did bank error in your favor? Like, I mean, I would be, Amazon sends me $13 every month, and if all of a sudden that was $3,000, I would be like, this is spectacular.
I think we've talked about it before, but I have things where I have a piece of ownership in something that is making no money,
Okay.
But getting those statements is just like your humiliation. This quarter sold 4 units.
Right.
You are $1 closer to fulfilling your $378,000 obligation for our internal costs. Ah, great. Thanks. Would you stop sending me these things?
Yeah, I got one last week about the pole vault audiobook, and I was trying to explain to Lauren what the trend was, like and it was pretty much how many decades if the minimal sales held, which they won't, that it would pay off the promised price range. So I think
there's a podcast out there that's going to rescue you someday.
Exactly.
And suddenly, boom.
So we're going to finish Moon People today, and I think we might as well get right into it. It's it's chapter 14. Our new friends started, and it starts off with yet again a sentence that made me question sort of like what I had already read, because the first sentence of chapter 14 was, all of a sudden the alien ship was right in front of the Admiral's USS Lunar Base 1. And so I was wondering, like, did this come out of the blue? And so the last chapter ended with, I'm going to try to communicate with them first. Our first alien contacts, Admiral. The Lunar Base 2 are almost into full separation, sir. The Lunar Base 2 is now in position, sir. So the alien ship right in front of us, it is all of a sudden, and it does come out of nowhere. So I was not misremembering, the approach or anything about that.
All spatial things, once again, with all of our writers, not handled with any kind of aplomb at all. I'm just always confused. All of a sudden, the ship was closer, stuff like that. Well, isn't it? If it's coming at you, it's continually closer.
Oh yeah, things are going to happen all of a sudden in this chapter, quite a bit. So it's worth keeping track of and calling out.
We right out of the gate get one of those strangely specific, and also when you think about it, really, really long periods of time. Let's try English, Lieutenant. Yes, sir. There was a pause of about 5 minutes, and then, sir, we are receiving a return message in English. And imagine that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And just the Admiral sort of strolling around the ship, like reaching for cigarettes, like, oh, that's right, I can't smoke on this thing.
He's picking up someone's paperclip jar and sort of just like jostling it around, and they're
doing the restaurant thing, giving someone a quick back rub,
Right.
So what are you doing this weekend? While we're waiting for this response in English here, are you you going out or anything? Or are you going to take in the? It's just why 5 minutes?
Your phone does not respond to your input for 6 seconds, and you're restarting it or trying to swipe something.
Yes.
But so then the question of let's try English was, open a line to the alien ship with a nice greeting, and he says, "What language, sir?" So like, has there been any? These are the USS space stations, right? There's been no indication that there is that this is an international venture, right? Like it's it's launching from Cape Canaveral or whatever. So he's essentially saying this is a United States military venture. We all speak English here, but what language do you want to try to communicate to the aliens with?
Yeah, like should we try, let's see, Basque, or should we try an unknown alien language?
I've got a good feeling about Farsi for these guys. Yeah, exactly. Does the computer have runes? Like, can we just send out the arrival language?
Maybe a click language. I don't know.
So that was good. It would, if there was like, if they had just pages of that, it would have been pretty awesome. No, it's not working. It's not. They're not responding. Give it 5 minutes. Give it 5 minutes more. They're not responding to the New Zealand Maori dialect.
How about let's do Renaissance French? Just 5 minutes later. Why did we try? Come on now.
But they quickly do communicate to the the Paulines, and the Paulines sort of like they speak English obviously, but they are quick to sort of like put a red flag out there in terms of like we come in peace, blah blah blah. We would like to meet you and get to know you better, please do not be bothered by our appearance. Which is like, as far as I'm concerned, like the number one sign that you're going to be bothered by someone's appearance.
Right.
It's like when the catfish gig is up for online dating or something, being like, I may have not been honest with you. Please don't be distressed if I'm a little different than my, the picture of the cheerleader I sent you. But
I had an illness. I've gained a little weight,
yes.
and I'm a bit shorter than my picture made it seem.
Right. It's like you're setting your parents up to when your report card is about to become, being like, it was a tough semester. So, but spoiler, like, again, that doesn't necessarily pay off. Everyone is pretty cool with them, with the way they look.
I was hoping for Elephant Man type, bag over the head with a tiny slit in it and a weird hat propped on top of it and a cane bent over, shuffling down. It's not far. The description is, unfortunately, it's pretty brisk in a way that doesn't quite. I wanted him to really attempt to describe them, and he gives it a very light watercolor brushing. There's not much going on.
Especially because it was sort of in the first page of the book where he summarizes everything too. People were drawing pictures of the Paulines before they, even like showed up on their radar.
Right. That's why I was hoping for a drill down here, but nope. That's all we get.
I like that he says, he's quick to reassure them. He says, your appearance will not bother us and we mean you no harm. We just have a few questions for you. One was, what were you doing around the planet Pluto that is on the outskirts of our solar system? So again, I mean, I guess they do speak English and stuff, but good chance the Paulines were like, we don't know your naming convention. Like,
right.
Oh, do you mean Gwelblark 6b? Yes. Like, we haven't considered that a planet for 50 years. Like,
the northern United States and southern United States can't agree on what battles are called, but
right.
But here we all know to call it Pluto.
Right, and same with the constellations as well. Like, they still they know the what the Greeks decided that these celestial beings were going to be called, and so that's been international naming or interspatial naming standards.
Yes. I love the follow-up to that. Are you the ship that was coming from the constellation of Scorpio? Like, well, I mean, I probably.
Yeah. We
I
passed
know.
A few others on the way. I guess they were, sort of veering in a different vector, but.
And then one final question. What are you doing in our solar system?
Yeah, burying the lead. Oh, yeah, the destruction of your race is why we're here. So,
turns he's already taken the sip of his coffee and everything. Just in a final, this is a formality only. Oh yeah, we're going to reduce you all to atoms.
Yes, yeah. In fact, the missile is on its way. But this is another their answer to like what he was doing. What were you doing around the planet Pluto is just a window into the 7-year-old mind of our author. The alien says, we didn't want to frighten you, so we were behind your planet Pluto observing you. So it's like they're, the space of this, like he's peeking out from behind Pluto like a kid, playing hide and seek behind a tree or something. It's like, well, so you were behind it, like at what point in its orbit, or like when we were here and you were there? It's amazing. But
the alien is not, he doesn't come with a lot of diplomatic language. The old, there's a language of diplomacy that goes back thousands of years, and there's a whole bunch of, there's formalities to it, and It's a back and forth. He skips all that. He just starts saying very simply, we are not here to hurt anyone. We've been monitoring your satellite and television. We like a lot of your movies, too, which I think is a huge slam on our television.
Right, yeah, it glosses over.
Yeah, we watch your television.
Yes,
it's like those people, we've talked about it before, who come up to us and say, yeah, I saw that riff tracks the other day. And then they just leave it hanging. And I've learned over the years to absolutely just do the 1,000-yard stare on that, because normally you want to, when you're what they're goading you into saying is, and did you enjoy it? And then you can go, it's not my thing, but so I just do the complete freeze out and wait for them
Yeah.
And it's glorious to watch them sort of melt because they had it all set up. They were
Right,
going to insult you, and now there's no way to do it. And that's what he's doing to our TV, I think.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that I would give my left arm to have expounded upon. But if Dale and Courtney had listed just a few of the movies that these guys liked, just to get a window into that, if it was, because it would be great if he had listed good movies. It would have been better if he was like, yeah, we saw Osmosis Jones, and we took in Highlander 2. We didn't understand it because we hadn't seen the first one, but
well, it's funny you should say that because there's a sentence coming up where he says that he has been watching their television. Here it is. We have been watching your television for about 50 of your years. Okay, so they have.
Right, yeah. I guess that makes sense. What they, one time around the sun is obviously different and out there, and so.
But still, he knew what Pluto was. But whatever. And then the next sentence, kind of a stunner. A lot of our little animals are similar to yours. It strikes me as a non sequitur, but I am not a Pauline, so I do not know.
Sure, I mean
maybe that's the way they talk. But
the concept of animals is in itself is a if you have that, maybe they will be the same. Like just.
I just ask you to imagine someone coming up to you and saying, like, yeah, I've, he's from another country or whatever. Like, yeah, I grew up on a lot of American television. A lot of our small animals are very similar to yours. You'd be
backing away,
put on your
reaching for the mace. Yeah.
Yes. But anyway, I looked into this, and once again, those brave heroes doing recreations, expanding the universe.
They are heroes.
Of Dale Courtney. I dove to the dark web.
Mm-hmm.
I know you like the standard dark web. As I said, I like dark web 2.0.
Yeah, it's
a better interface, I find.
I think you're in too deep, man. I think it's like one of the you're a mafia. You've gone undercover, and I'm grabbing you by your lapels and being like, you have a wife and family. You gotta get out of 2.0.
Well, I've made my choice. It's
You've
like
gunted too deep.
There was a short period of time. It's no longer when I was actually searching on Bing.
I'm aware.
Just to be that guy, I did it. It wears thin. It's like replacing your computer sounds with Homer's dough or whatever.
Or your keyboard with Dvorak.
Hey, that's lasted. That's solid, baby. So anyway, here it is. Here's a recreation and expansion of that little moment. Let us tarry no longer. Let's listen to that.
Okay. I hope our food suits you, Captain Tudmoke. We have done our best.
Excellent, excellent. We have been watching your TV for about 50 years.
Really? 50 years? It's 2048 now, so that means you got started in 1998?
Yes. Veronica's closet was really what got us hooked. But listen, that's not important. This is. A lot of our little animals are similar to yours.
Veronica's Closet, the forgotten sitcom with Kirstie Alley?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we have a small burrowing mammal called a mall, which seems very similar to your moles, which I believe are also burrowing mammals.
Yeah, wait. Did you guys take in a lot of Dharma and Greg?
Sir, I did very little else for the better part of a year. Now, listen to this. There's a creature called a sparrow, which is a songbird not dissimilar to yours.
No, please. I'm sorry to do this.
What? This is highly unusual.
So, in 1998, you just sat on your couch watching Diagnosis, Murder, and Jag?
Mm-hmm.
You were switching over at the commercials to see what was happening on Becker and Providence?
Well, naturally, sir. We are a logical race. What were you doing at this time?
I mean, I was at Red Lobster getting tons of action like every normal American.
I wish you would focus. I am trying to tell you about an insect we have called an int. They live in groups and invade our packnicks.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I get it. You are my guest.
Thank you, Admiral, for your kindness. I will send you a smoked turkey from Hockery Firms.
Thank you. Ally McBeal?
I loved Ally McBeal.
Oh my God, me too. Hey, pass that potato pudding.
You got it, you little dancing baby, you. So hopefully that
it
hopefully
does.
It helps.
Both of those points were expanded upon very well, and
Right.
I get the sense that they wouldn't. They buried the lead. I think they like the TV. I think that they wouldn't keep watching it, especially during that golden era, if they weren't enjoying it.
Oh, you don't think that it was just like due diligence? I mean, we got to watch it.
Well, yeah, but at some point in time, it's like, I'm just doing my due diligence to see if I like this cocaine. It's like, you've been doing cocaine for 2 months. I think you are very much in the throes of an addiction here. Because again, they have colonized countless planets, so they've got the entertainment of the entire universe to behold. So
Right. But they lingered over Providence. How many seasons was that on? I don't.
I appreciated how I could really tell that the reenactors had spelled Veronica's closet the right way.
Right.
Because I took note of it being a K, and so that was very interesting to me. When I looked at the transcript of that 2.0
of
reenaction,
course.
yes.
You did while we were listening to it. That's thorough of you.
Well, those guys, they provide, that's the 2.0 difference.
Yes, exactly.
Is the closed captions.
Full download PDF and everything. Yeah. So we go from TV and we quickly, and TV and movies and all of that and then they talk about food.
Yeah.
And that had been set up already, of course, preparing the food for them.
Yeah.
And so I think it's the Admiral says, well, we are hoping we could get together with you and celebrate with a good meal so we could get to know one another a little bit better. This is the aliens. And,
okay.
And it could have been at that point, our stomachs are on the outside.
Yeah, exactly.
We eat battery acid.
Yeah, we're one of those people who actually, breatharians or something. We photosynthesize.
Yeah, or we sort of slowly surround particles of food with our entire gelatinous bodies. And then
it's much more
them.
efficient. It results in much fewer problems. Our cancer
rate.
But yes,
let's sit down for some roast beef.
Well, I like that they were they were sort of ended up doing like the, sitting on the couch and being like, where do you want to get dinner tonight? Like, oh, I don't know. You pick. Like, how about Chinese? Well, I don't want Chinese. But they were like, thank you, Admiral. That's very kind. We're honored. We'll bring some of our recipes, but we will eat whatever you are eating.
We look forward to trying your foods. You haven't seen them yet. I mean, this is a spaceship.
Right.
It comes out of a package.
Yes.
Oh, it gets shot through a tube. That's right.
Yeah,
and then it's microwaved. So,
but maybe the one guy with chickens is like, now it's your time to shine, Henrietta. Start laying. And I thought, I guess again we're really just a third of the way through this series, but there was so much of talk about eating and we will eat whatever you are eating that a very basic 2-serve man ripoff might be happening, just in terms of all the. Are these aliens pretending to be friendly? But it doesn't appear that's actually the case. They serve him a baked potato, and the aliens like it, and they go on to encounter a mutual enemy. So,
yeah, I figured his earnestness could not pull that off. It just seemed too like he would think that was mean to have a twist
right.
like that.
Sure,
I don't want to do that to people. These people are nice. Well, that's not how drama works, where people just show up and they're nice, and then you have a good meal. And then I hope you enjoy our beds. Oh, they are very soft. Thank you. I mean, it's just the Admiral here, though. Oh no, here's a what in the hell sentence. Mm-hmm. This is the alien. My ship is called in your language the Galumpa, which means in your language the Star Lion, or Star King of the Beast, and my name, in short, is called Captain Tudmoke.
That's amazing.
What is going on there?
So
I don't think I understand any part of that.
We can parse it in our language. It's the very familiar word that we all know, the Galumpa. Which
means in your language. So how is the Galumpa in our language?
But and so they also possess knowledge of, again, like I said, like is it Greek that named all the constellations? Like Draco is the dragon,
right?
So you would assume that then Leo as lion and like whatever star is would translate somehow through those to Galumpa, but Galumpa just sounds like either a bad Batman impact sound or like a species in like the actual book version of the Wizard of Oz or something.
Right. Who's the Mad Magazine guy with the weird sounds? Don Martin.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, stepping in a giant pile of manure or something.
Yeah,
Galumpa.
Throwing a big rock off a cliff into a pond.
Right.
But it's also maybe something you don't want to look up on Urban Dictionary, I would say, probably.
Yes, I didn't. I did not make that move myself.
Yeah, so that's you're going to get a lot of talk about the Galumpa. It's hard not to find that hilarious, especially when it starts just getting pounded over and over again, which is pretty much the back third of this section.
But it has such a great move that it does. We'll get to that.
Okay. So I guess what he does, the Admiral does what anyone would do in this situation as the aliens are about to, make first contact. He calls up the president, and which just has, one of my dumb sentences. We'll burn it ahead of time. The Admiral started talking with the President of the United States, and he says, he sort of is like, go for it. Essentially, we're all rooting for you. And he says, Admiral, I'm making you Admiral of our space fleet. You're the head of all the base stations and anything else that's in space in this solar system. So
talk about a battlefield commission.
Yeah, yes, you're all that you can see and that has ever been, and galaxies that we haven't discovered yet. You're in charge of.
I have to say about that. He tells him here, we have to look good because I'm told everyone is watching us down on Earth.
Yeah.
You're told this? You didn't know it? What is your situational awareness?
Right, Mr. President, please. Yeah, but that also makes you like are they doing like a Big Brother type of reality show that the crew of the USS Lunar Base 1 was unaware of? Like, how is this happening?
I don't know. Well, later there's it's puzzling, and I guess it's a slight spoiler alert. They have to give the president reports later on. Like, I thought you were watching every second of the whole Earth was watching this. I don't get it. But there is an Admiral moment I just want to, before we pass by it. The Admiral says, thank you. Yes, sir, Admiral. Captain Bramer, stay on yellow alert unless I tell you. And keep them shields on. So he turns into Yosemite Sam very briefly.
That's the president?
His pistols. That's the
Admiral.
Blasts his pistols into the ground and rises off the floor of the ship.
Yeah.
Oh, keep them shields on.
I hate them Archons. But that, so he talks to the president. It's, they bask in the solemnity of this moment, first contact, and then they get into some very important minutia. I think this is the Admiral talking. Lieutenant, I was just thinking, maybe we should not serve any meat. We can have it ready in case they ask for it, but only if they ask for it. Okay, Lieutenant? It's like, when did this occur to him? Is he just halfway through his conversation with the president? And he's like, oh, crap, what if they're vegetarians? That's going to be a huge awkward thing, even though they didn't specify it when we asked what they wanted to eat. And they said, anything you're having will be okay with us.
Well, they were watching our TV for 50 years. So how do they know that they're not going to say, we would like to try one of your Swanson's Hungry Man dinners that we saw in 1984, or
yeah.
I don't know what.
Hey, Krellblond92 has this theory that at some point in time the voice in the commercials that said beef, it's what for dinner changed. But I don't think it's true. And he's like, no, it was Sam Elliott, and then it became McConaughey. It's like, can you weigh in on this, Admiral? Like, we settle this dispute. It's been going on for decades now.
Yeah, I think
many of your decades.
I can clear it up. Before that, it was the guy who played Rockford on Rockford 5. Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you so much. We were killing ourselves over that.
But they show up, and I think we get our first description of them, in the context of the book, not the book preview. but it says...
Before you get into the description, I just have one thing, and it's this. This is a thing that happens a lot from now on. I just want to give it a quick highlight, and then when it comes up again.
Okay.
Everyone waited in anticipation to see the aliens. Then everyone started to unload. So... the everyone's here being the same everyone's, I guess.
Right.
So they just started unloading on each other. Debbie, you borrowed my eyeliner and never gave it back. You suck, you thief.
Or it was like a therapy kind of like, my father never told me he loved me. Like, whoa, like save this for another time.
His concept of everyone is very, very tenuous, as we discover. But anyway, yes, the description of the aliens.
Yeah. So our alien friends were unloading. They came out one at a time. They looked humanoid. They were way taller than us. I would say about 7 feet tall. So not sure whose perspective that is. 7 feet tall. And their face was rough looking, almost as if they were burnt. So right away, it's a terrifying visage. It's like what, in a horror movie when like a 6-year-old is saying like, there was a man by my bed and his face was burnt. Like, it's like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I can imagine. But everyone's cool with it. Their skin color was a 3-tone of a light brown, and they had very little visible hair, but what hair they did have looked like thin black wire. So again, it's like some horrible... it's like the who was that thing? The Momo challenge that was all the rage a year ago. That horrible statue that would show up in YouTube videos.
Oh, I missed that one completely.
Oh dear.
You're probably not surprised about that, but yes, I missed it.
They were muscular built, but had a slender side to them. Their arms, legs, and torso looked elongated. So they gave the impression of being elongated without actually being elongated. It was very curious.
Correct.
But everyone, no one runs in terror. No one vomits. No one sheds a single tear at this appearance. So I guess the warnings that the Paulines gave everyone enough notice to sort of steel themselves for this horrible appearance.
And I love the little grace note on that paragraph is there were 5 of them. Normally he would start 5 creatures lumbered off of the ship.
Yeah, 5
one more
visages,
horrible than the other. But I want to return to this one. This one really troubles me. Their skin color was a 3-tone of a light brown. I'm going to put the conjunction away and forget about the rest of the sentence because that stands on its own.
Sure.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Like a
gradient?
Was a 3-tone of a light brown.
Gradient, color wheel, like the swatches, like paint swatches.
I don't know. Don't you? I sometimes picture, again, we would obviously never do this, but getting Dale M. Courtney on the witness stand and just reading his. I quote from your book, their skin color was a 3-tone of a light brown. What does that mean, sir? Like it's a brown and... No, I don't know. You wrote it. What is... Just a full hour of drilling until he wept.
Yeah, make it... Explain to me. Explain,
You wrote it, sir. Stop asking me questions back.
Yeah, the judge is banging his gavel, being like, this badgering will not stand. This is out of order. You're out of order.
Just to get him to weep.
Right, yes.
I have no further questions. Anyway, so they go to a meal, and they... I know you were wondering about the sitting arrangement.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, the sitting arrangements were set up in the typical round table style.
Of course.
Picture, the typical round table style.
Sure. It's
You got it in your head? Okay, good. On one side of the table, there was Admiral Benson.
You can't for 2 sentences back to back. You can't keep any sort of even the vaguest mental image going. Circles, the famously sided shapes, the one shape he could have picked.
I picture him writing this and then watching the Camelot, where he describes how we're going to have a round table so no one can sit at the head of the table. Right. And he goes, "Dope! I blew that." There's no time to go back. I already shipped it into to Zilibris or whatever the hell it is.
But yeah, they sit down and they have some. They reveal, we're like you in many ways. Some of us eat meats and some of us don't. And it's just this is, it's first contact. Again, you've buried the lead of what are you doing in our system, and they're just sort of skipping to the most basic small talk that you would get, like if you invited over like a second cousin. Someone was in town for business and it's like, oh, I guess I'm obligated to invite him over. I hope he says no. But, he shows up and it just, so like your mom had that goiter the other year. And like, no, that was my mom's sister. Like, oh, okay. How is it? Oh, it's fine. So, yeah. When was the last time we saw each other? Was that no, I wasn't there. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, it's the worst conversation imaginable when you should just be sort of like, beholding in the significance of a moment no one else will ever experience.
I had a cousin who I haven't seen in many years said, hey, we are going to be in Minneapolis. Can we stop in and see you and Bridget? And I'm going to be here with my niece, who I have never met in my life. I'm like, well, of course. I mean, I love this cousin, but literally many, many years. So again, you have that anxiety. And they turned out to be like absolutely delightful. Everything was fine. But that was what I was picturing. Like, how is Aunt... Oh God!
Right. Yes.
So yeah, this is 100% that style of conversation.
Right. Drop the knife. Just like, why are we related? Explain this to me. I got a Facebook request 8 years ago. Accepted it because you were friends with a distant aunt of mine, and so.
But this is the kind of stuff that's, again, the kind of diplomatic talk that's going on. We truly love to meet new people from other worlds and trade with them, as long as there's no conflicting problem. Yeah, that's pretty much been the story of humanity.
Sure.
Gentle trading with other people.
Well, yeah. That's their main thing. They express that a lot, but then, they double down on that. They say, you have to understand, if we give you some type of our technology and you used it to control your planet, we would be in trouble from our superiors. So you have that again, the same thing they gave us hiding behind Pluto. You have them worried about getting in trouble if they gave them a death ray and they use it to enslave the rest of the planet.
And we are, as we've said, very gentle. We only want some mild trade back and forth. But if that does happen and you use our technology, we will take all your children and murder them one by one in front of your screaming eyes. Yeah. So
might be more of a deterrent.
This meat is very good.
Yes. But yeah, so their main goal is to trade, but they do get the thing that we did last time as a reel or fanfic, I believe, where they discuss asparagus.
Oh my God!
I didn't put the entire excerpt, but the well-known pudding that we call a baked potato,
right? And
they talk about how they have something similar to a baked potato on their planet called stemmage, which is that's the only real inkling we get into their society. That's the only word he bothered to make up other than the name of their ship and the alien races. And I was just imagining, like them coming back and being like, people of Pauline planet, I forget what their planet's called, but like, we have initiated yet another trade route. And the stemmage farmer is like, ooh, how is this going to improve my life? And they're like, we have baked potatoes now, so we're not going to eat that anymore. You can let that crop wither and die on the vine. And he's the one guy that swears vengeance on Earth because he's been ruined by the existence of the baked potato.
Big stemmage has to get its revenge.
Yes, exactly.
This is a nice mention here. Myself and all of my officers had to learn your language for this mission.
Wow.
Which should have been self-evident by now, since they've been talking about puddings and things. We were going to come back in 2008, but there was too much conflict going on in your world. And I assume he's talking about the arrest of Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. It's the only thing that sprang to mind of what Dale M. Courtney would be upset about at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Dale was maybe he had the financial collapse on his mind, but all things considered, like. The world was probably a more peaceful time than it has been any other time that the aliens might have been checking it out.
Yeah, we kept looking for little windows of opportunity. There was that Pax Romana way back in the day, and then it's pretty much been tough to get an appointment with you guys.
That Genghis Khan fella, he delayed things for a long time, man. Those
hard.
tickets were non-refundable during his era.
Oh my goodness.
But the admiral, he elaborates on that. He says, we are a peaceful people, more or less. We would only fight in a defensive posture. And I thought it was for them who have already admitted that they are very familiar with our movies and TV, for us to make the claim that we're pretty much peaceful is like, well, sir, this is a laughable claim. You glorify like two major things, and we're going to get to asking you about all that sex because we're very intrigued by that. But no, we've seen TV. The peaceful claim is very laughable.
Well, that is probably made clear by this sentence that's just kind of buried in the middle of a bunch of that dumb rambling talk. Since then, we have developed light speed. We have colonized hundreds of worlds all over the universe. Spit takes around the table. Baked potato knives dropped. And wait. Colonized?
Yeah. So does colonize imply that are people there that you do it, or is it just like we saw this empty area and now we are, farming stemage on it?
Colonized has a pretty specific meaning. They might be benevolent colonials. I don't know.
Have there ever been colonials who didn't consider themselves, we're going to improve these people's lot in life?
Oh, I think
eventually.
Tons of justification for that. But if you were colonized by, say, the Portuguese, it's probably you wanted to be colonized by maybe the British. Again, I don't want to get into it.
Sure, but, that's
the point being
that stood out.
There are at least better and worse versions of colonization.
Yeah, they're getting in their Pauline earpieces like, what's that? Uprising? Yeah, no, suppress it. Back to this pudding. Wow.
Suppress it by any means necessary. Of course.
Yeah. Sure.
We're friendly.
Yeah. Try that new gas. Yeah. Oh yeah. We've been meaning to try that one out. Oh wow. Wow, that didn't... Ooh, that quickly, huh? Well, I guess the problem's solved, but yeah, don't use that one again.
Yeah, that has some unfortunate side effects.
I don't have too much else, but this was a good one. I think it was related to your one about the galumpa. Either in your language, it's called galumpa, which means in your language the star lion. They say our ship is, how do you say, 10 kilometers in diameter. Yeah, that's, are you measuring it? Like, this is not you're not saying like, we are in how you say love with this type of thing. Right. So you either measure it one way or you don't. Yes. It is not even 10 of your kilometers. It's just interesting to me.
But then their trade talk turns into a flat out sales pitch. Uh-huh. We will give you some of our catalogs of our many products to take back to your ship to look over. Like, it's Christmas Story. A crummy commercial? That's what this whole thing was about?
Who was offering the catalogs? Was it the Admiral or was it the Paulines?
I think it's the Paulines to them about the technology that they could trade with them.
Right. So they show up and they're all of a sudden a multi-level marketing scam.
Yes, it's Cutco knives. Yes. I have a son who he's just trying to get a toehold in life, and he's working for Cutco knives. Can you come over and talk to you?
Yeah, just even doing the presentation is going to be helpful for him in order to you don't have to buy anything.
Right. Just give him a hearing if you would. It's just 45 minutes of your time.
But yeah, it's very much just focused on trade, and everyone takes that at face value, and they're all happy. And I'm not sure what the Paulines are expecting to gain from our civilization in terms of, they've perfected light speed. They're, obviously colonizing planets, so we're, millennia behind them, you would assume. But it could just be the TV technology, or maybe they're just interested in memorabilia from NBC's must-see TV lineup of the late 90s. So you never know.
Yeah, I mean, they were probably hoping to meet some of those people.
Yeah.
And no one was on. Woody Harrelson was not.
Jonathan Silverman will settle for him from The Single Guy, I guess. Like,
Here's some odd language about how wars work. We were attacked more than once, this is the alien, by the Archons, but we had to defend ourselves, and they lost a couple ships that they are a little resentful about, but it was in self-defense. Look, the Germans had to defend themselves at Stalingrad, and they lost most of their population. They seem a little resentful about
resentful it. Was definitely a standout word. So I think that is into chapter 15, so I'm going to skip ahead in my notes to that.
Oh, sorry.
That was the last thing I had. Yeah.
That's the one chapter that I didn't delineate. Sorry.
But yeah,
because it just flows into one another. So.
Yeah, it is. There is no difference, and we don't have any fanfic, so we might as well. They described so their planet was called Cybon. That's where the Paulians are from. He describes it as a cross between your Earth and your Jupiter mixed, which is again, I just wish there had been some elaboration on one. I guess he knows what Earth is like, what Jupiter's like, but what the combination possibly means. Is it just like Earth with a big red spot on it? A gigantic Earth with huge gas clouds. It made no sense, but I was intrigued.
He has no idea what he means by that.
Yes,
either,
of course.
Right?
Yeah, it could be Earth with rings. I mean, that could be as basic as it gets.
Picture a hippopotamus crossed with a platypus. All right, which parts are
which
on
elements?
Which
yes.
things?
Yeah, yeah. I'm turned on no matter what, but I'd want to. And then we got this also promise that is not elaborated on. You mentioned 1,000-yard stairs earlier, but we get teased with this. Admiral, our computers are compatible for this, but we have to make sure we don't inadvertently download any type of harmful viruses onto our system. Something that might work okay for your computer system might not be all right for our computer system or the other way around. And he says, if you like, we'll have our systems expert and yours look at your computer system to see if it would hurt our system or your system. So there are alien IT guys. Mm-hmm. Which is, again, just a glimpse into that world of the guy who comes over on the Pauline ship and is just like, the Pauline captain is like, yeah, so it's just, sys310.dll keeps popping up. So I don't know if it has anything to do with the Outlook plugin we installed, and the alien IT guy's like, like it would have anything to do with the Outlook plugin you had installed.
I like, though, that after his long explanation of that, he says, just to see if they are compatible. Right. Like, yeah, that's what you've been saying that for the last minute. I understand how that works.
Right. Because we saw the computer Sandra Bullock was using in the net to buy pizza, and we get the sense that was a very fake looking operating system. So we have no actual sense of what your computers use, because every movie and TV show uses a fake one for some reason.
And instead of replying as he probably would, like, there's no way in hell I'm going to join our two systems. Like you are using something that we passed up thousands of years ago. We were beyond this, but instead he says, "That's excellent, Captain Tudmoke." So this is their gentle. I mean, as colonizers, it's a pretty good system.
Right.
It's a very laid back colonization.
Yeah, you just sort of there's onboarding, with the there's technology upgrades, and then the enslaving. So let's get to it.
But you do get a catalog out of it. We got some good stuff in there. Prices are low.
The Archons who were resentful, they talk about sort of what happened to get them resentful. He says they're at war with two other civilizations, the Archons and their friends, the Thracians. All we did was try to set up some friendly trade with them, and they seemed to fear us, and they turned on us for trespassing. So I just really like the idea of space trespassing, like their planet just has a big posted sign on it or something. It just, I guess once you do master light speed and interdimensional travel, like the rules start changing. But it just. Do
you think it was like the Great Cod Wars, kind of? Their,
right.
Just sort of hovering outside their harbor. And,
international waters in space.
Yeah, taking their fish and all of
that. And these were three just amazing sentences that sort of that world build a bit more. I feel that we are a little more advanced than them, but they don't think so. So that's good because there's clearly ways to delineate who is more advanced in terms of who has mastered light speed or not. They do have some pretty advanced weaponry, however, but believe it or not, even primitive weapons can be very effective in space.
I do not understand that at all. Is that a scientific proclamation? Like, so why even upgrade your weapons?
Right. Yeah. If you have a slingshot or a 2x4 with a nail into it, once you take it out into the void of space, it somehow gains, much bigger powers.
I don't get it.
But so yeah, that's why they're resentful, I guess, is because they thought they had these big weapons, but it turns out they wasted all their time developing them when they could have just brought a handful of rocks into space, and it would have been just as effective as a laser cannon.
Question for you: Hydra the dragon? Did you look that up?
I did look it up.
Is it real?
No.
Okay.
No, of course not. Draco the dragon is the constellation. Hydra is, the many-headed, like sea serpent or something like that.
Yeah, that's the
chop off one head and two grow back, and
right.
Hercules fought it, I thought, right?
Yeah.
So
the Archons are the fourth planet from the star you call. So is the star exist? Gamma Hydra?
I didn't look that up. Okay. I assumed that would, you got to put a baseline somewhere.
Yeah. He says. So he tells them, after he describes where they're from and where the Archons are from, that you do have a beautiful world, and it does seem to stand out and is very visible in space. Well, thank you. We hired a guy who
yes.
He really gussied it up. We did the original design for Earth itself, but then at some point you got to reach out and find a guy who can make it really look good from space. Give it some curb appeal.
Yeah, we started with Pangea, but we decided like a more open concept was necessary. So get people their space a bit more.
First of all, we're going to tear these continents all apart. Now, don't get scared. It's going to have that open flow where it goes from one piece of Pangea to another. It's going to be great.
Right. Yeah. He's sort of like making the claim that a bunch of my friends, when it came time to propose, it was like, yeah, he designed the wedding ring himself. And it's like, did he? Because I've seen this guy's wardrobe, and I'm a bit skeptical of his gem designing thing. So we designed Earth. Well, we sort of picked from there were like three options, and then my little flourish was Tasmania. I said there should be an island there, and so I designed it. Yeah.
Oh, that really does. It sets it off, just being right there. Yep, perfect. We also get a great reference to eggplant Parmesan.
Oh my God! Yeah,
one of my favorites, because again, it's in the middle of. I mean, we are talking about. This is obviously first contact with, you can communicate with, and we're still going back to, by the way, what kind of food is that?
Yes.
That is what we call eggplant Parmesan.
Yeah. This is very good, said Captain Tudmoke. Then Admiral Benson said, that's one of my favorite too, Captain. I just said, I posted it yesterday, that exact excerpt. I said, this is a surrealist masterpiece because... yeah, you couldn't make it up. I don't know.
But yeah, we should be talking about those weapon systems. We are the first line of defense against this whole new races. Some are very, very hostile. They have, they throw rocks in space and they can destroy our station.
Yeah.
But hey, what kind of Swanson's dinner is this?
By us even, allowing you onto our ship, have we signed a death warrant with the Thracians, just by their sheer hatred of you. Like we need some more info before we.
He holds up one of his slender fingers because he's got a full mouthful of eggplant Parmesan, and he's like, "Yes, you're all dead."
Absolutely.
Like, no.
But I'm going to take this back because, compared to stemmage, again, it sucks that the stemmage farmers are going to have to go on welfare, but we do have a robust welfare system, so it's gonna take care of it.
We have seen your aluminum foil swans. We would like to take several of them back to our ship with us if we could.
And it threw me because you have a baked potato, and you have a asparagus. Which of those resembles the thing stemage? Is it the one that is long and almost the entire vegetable resembles a long stem and has a very fibrous part of it at the bottom of it that is stem-like and difficult and disgusting to eat? Or is it the round thing that you put bako bits on? It's like you can't even get that right because it doesn't matter. It would have said, the asparagus resembles our stemage. And
right. I don't think I've ever told you, when I was in high school, my dad, he had a garden, and we would tend his garden. He worked out of town at that time. He used to come in only on the weekends. And his asparagus, like after many years, finally came up.
Okay.
And he was so excited about the asparagus. So like, tend to the asparagus. It's over by the side of the garden. And one day I mowed down his entire asparagus.
Oh my God.
It was like a deep family resentment that never quite healed itself. So yeah, as stemage went, no, sorry, it's not stemage. That's
right.
Potatoes, of course.
Wow.
That's a thing you never get. That's a, that's a Seinfeldian thing. Like, you mowed my asparagus down on purpose. It looks like grass. How was I supposed to know?
Yeah, I did you a favor. Your pee would have smelled awful for...
Yes.
But the important thing is that this struck me as very funny. They finish up their eggplant Parmesan and everything, and then they sort of take them on a mini tour. It says, as they were checking everything out, Captain Tutmoke commented on how impressed he was, especially when the lunar base 1 split into 3 different ships, all independent of each other.
I was infuriated by that.
So it's like it was like that's the one thing that that DMC is sort of like, that was his idea. And so he had to, it's obviously very stupid and has no bearing on anything, but he felt the need to have a guy tell him that it's a good idea. So it was like, it was like Tim the Toolman Taylor, who's like, I'm gonna put a Mega Drive on this Jaguar, and his wife's like, do you really need to, Tim? And then the neighbor comes over and he's like, is that a Mega Drive on that Jag? And Tim sort of looks at his wife and
I was so infuriated by it. Naturally, I fired off an angry email to you. About what is the purpose of this? What is he doing? And I do have a theory that this is some sort of overriding theme that he's not capable of doing it, but it's supposed to be tied up with 222 and his astrology and angels thing. Right. So there's got to be some parallel.
Little
there's
trinity.
No other reason for this to be. Yes, a trinity, some sort of magical, mystical thing that he's imbuing with this. Otherwise, there's no reason for this to be right. I mean, there's nothing about something splitting into 3 that has any ability to impress anyone from any race in all of humanity, throughout the universe in perpetuity. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, unless, it's like a kid's toy where, like, this year's iteration of Transformers now, it becomes 3 Transformers type of thing. But in terms of a hook,
this is not King Ding. Remember, King
right?
Ding,
Yes.
That's a deep cut, people. But it's an old toy that
right.
Kids got very excited about on the commercial.
Yeah, so I mean, Dale is probably of that era where you were sort of like, Mom, I just need one more of these, and then it will form the large one. And I was like, God damn. But so that could just be something he's fixated on, Ernest Cline style from his childhood.
My son was in the era of Bionicles. Uh-huh. Is that still a thing? I don't think so. It's a Lego.
It's a Lego offshoot thing, right?
Yes, yes, but they were very specific, and his the floor of his bedroom was just like an absolute nightmare of sharp Bionicle pieces, like just by the thousands. Like everything was Bionicle. Got to have this one, and then of course it's just a heap the next day.
Yeah, I got to put them together for my brother because he was 5 and wanted the Lego pirate ship, and then it would be. I mean, I liked doing it, but it was very much. What do you like about these? Just having them, because you're not putting them together. You don't you don't create your own elaborate structures out of the loose pieces. It's just as like, more of them and owning them. And I guess that's that's the Ernest Cline mentality of just,
Connor,
have a
this
shelf.
One splits into 3 pieces.
Oh, dear God, it's all been worth it.
I don't have anything more on our ship until they go up to.
They take a visit to the Pauline ship, the Galumpa.
Right, and this is what how it happened. As they left the docking bay on the Lunar Base 1, Captain Tudmoke's ship grabbed them with their tracking beam. Wrong there, of course. Then they pulled us right into their cargo bay and set us down like we were a baby. You are a baby.
Right, yes. So this is how it's going to be. We're going to set you down. We have our space diapers, and then we will burp you. And this is what we do to all our colonies. And this is your life now. Hope you're down with it.
But this, I think, is happening more frequently now. As they left the docking bay, then they pulled us right into the right.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's just
we're just back and forth constantly on that.
Yeah, there are some overt ones where it changes to like I for a sentence or all that, but sometimes you just get mixed ones in the middle and completely careless.
Yeah. But the main thing about if you thought that something splitting into three was impressive. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen a thing that's large? Because my God, his descriptions of it are incredible.
So they go inside, and it says the inside of the alien ship looked similar to ours, which is like you are writing anything can happen, but like it's just like it's pretty the same. Like you go to a different city and things, the architecture is different, Nashville has those hideous tall and skinny buildings you don't see anywhere else. You go to San Francisco, you see Victorians with bay windows. He can't even be bothered to imagine what the inside of an alien spaceship looks like. It's amazing.
Right. The, Planet of the Apes, they did that kind of white blobby architecture. Like,
sure.
Hey, slightly different kind of house. There you go. That's all you need.
Right. But there is a difference. He says, but the rooms were much higher and bigger, probably because of their height.
Oh my God.
It might check out. The logic there might check out that if they are, twice as tall as you, they might want to have a bit more space. But that's not what everyone couldn't get over. What everyone couldn't get over was that their ship was as big as a small moon. It was 10 kilometers in diameter. It was enormous.
And so they've just docked. They're strolling, for, I guess, it's just been a minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could walk all day long and still not see everything. Their elevator was like a train car that went all over the ship.
Well, I bet, like, that's cool, Mike, but I bet that's kind of probably super slow.
It wasn't slow either. The first place they took us was probably the most interesting of all. So that was a poor choice on their part. They should have ended the tour with the most exciting thing.
Yeah, that's like showing someone your garage left or, an unfinished basement.
But here's this is the peaceful colonizers. It was the museum that they had. It was as big as a 4-story building. Again, his imagination, 4 stories.
Yes.
Each exhibit that they had of different alien races was set up in its own room. They had hundreds of different alien exhibits. They had aliens from all over the universe. There were some very odd-looking aliens and some pretty scary-looking characters. A lot of questions here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, you start a spaceship the size of a small moon, and obviously you're going to have a museum on it, for whatever reason, I guess to show off your colonizing triumphs when you go to, put other civilizations in diapers or something.
Are the aliens stuffed and mounted is my number one question. As he said, we have aliens, and they are some pretty scary looking characters.
Right. It's sort of it belies your assertion that you're colonizing people out of peace if you have taxidermied people on display.
Yeah, I should have asked, like, so what's the deal here? Are they real? Oh, yeah. Those are, we inject them with a gel and their body freezes up. But I thought you were just peacefully trading. Well, look they're scary looking. If we get to a planet and they look like this asshole, of course we got to do something about this.
And sorry, Mr. Admiral, I'm familiar with their civilization, even though I learned about it 30 minutes ago. They are not even actually dead. They are just in a state of suspended body animation. Their mind is still working. So this is actually
is that torture?
Oh, it's very yes. Well, yeah. Why don't you ask them when they regain the ability to move and speak in 1 million of your years? Then you can ask them how torturous it was. We haven't gotten them to weigh in on it yet.
Oh, I am stuffed from that Parmesan, that eggplant Parmesan.
And also, I liked this note that one of the Admiral's crew, one of the security officers, was videoing the whole tour. So he's taking on the role of, like, in the 80s, there was always, like, you know, that was how you sort of did the stereotype of Asian tourist. They were always taking pictures. Right. So this guy is doing that. He's just videotaping everything as they with, I guess, the handycam that they had on board the space station or something.
Yeah, the fact that he does not get objections from the Paulines makes me think that, like, there's no way they're getting off the ship.
Yes.
Of course. Let him film. We're going to inject him with that thing. They'll be frozen forever. Don't worry about it.
And then you just get these sort of exaltations, which, you know, we're setting the stage for what, you know, the final act with all the pounding that happens. But Captain Tudmoke, your ship, the Galumpa, is incredible. It's so big. And he's like, yeah, say it again.
There's another great sentence. The Archons, and Thracians were some terrifying-looking aliens. They showed what each world looked like in a small hologram and what their ships looked like, and their handheld weapons, and even some of the plants and animals on their planets. After the long tour, nobody was bored. Everyone seemed like they were in a state of fascination.
Yeah, that's just that's the first side effect of the drug. That's how you tell it's taking effect. Like
they seem like it.
But yeah, the descriptions of the Archons and Thracians, who you never meet the Thracians in this book. The Archons show up later, but you get just a baffling description. You get all these vagaries, and then you get just descriptions thrown at you in like 4 different sentences and then never mentioned again. But I'm just going to read it because there's a lot to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
Archons were humanoid, but they looked like they were part snake and part human together. So just a whiplash of a sentence. And that's all you get. Moving on to the Thracians. The Thracians looked like they were humanoid too. So again, just a vast imagination on display here. Looked like they were humanoid too, and some kind of a mammal mix. Humans are mammals. They had big dog-like teeth. Wouldn't have picked dog as my example for big teeth or intimidating teeth. You know, dinosaurs, lions.
But you would capitalize dog as a proper noun, of course. Thank you.
And we get a follow-up for the Thracians. The Thracians were also very tall and muscular. So everyone's just tall. That's his other thing. They were even bigger than the Paulines. They didn't have the slender look like the Paulines either. No, you just told us they were muscular. They looked like they were solid muscle spelled like the shellfish. Yes. It's just
that rises to a dumb sentence of the week for me when the misspelling is so spot on.
Yeah,
it's so stupid.
Yeah, so the other ones look like part snake, and these guys are part muscle. You just have these lower animals, these like slimy things that everyone resembles.
They have a unique trait, though.
Yes.
Captain Dopar explained to us that the Archons would bite their victims to make them sleep, then devour them whole.
But they're the ones who don't have the long dog-like teeth. And I don't know what biting someone to make them sleep is. It's like a venomous bite to slow down their resisting as you devour them whole. Like, we used to not bite them to put them to sleep, but Brisback's 9-2 got kicked into spleen when he was devouring a Pauline who was still awake. So now we got to bite him to make him go to sleep.
Is it the what's the wasp? The tarantula hawk wasp?
Yeah, that like
it stings him. Stings the tarantulas to paralyze them, then bites off all of their legs and drags them back to their nest, lays their eggs in them, and it's still alive. And then the eggs hatch, and then they eat the still alive.
Yeah, the most horrible thing imaginable.
The most horrifying. So I guess that's what he's trying to get to, something like that.
Yeah. And you get more about them wanting to trade. I did not do specifics, but this is just, I noted that at this point in time, there are 8 pages left in the book.
Right.
I think they go back to their own ship for whatever reason. And,
they head back because they got to update the president, who I guess was not watching live. That's what bugged me about it. They got to file a report with him.
Yeah.
So the Earth is watching, but I guess they, maybe they have some technology on their ship that blocks video signals or something.
Well, if they had the whole Big Brother setup on the USS Lunar Base 1 or 2 or wherever they are, it might not translate to the Pauline. So everyone on Earth is just watching, people playing solitaire on the base as the missionaries go to the Pauline ship.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Well, what they saw was people coming or going as they felt if they needed to do their job or not, which we learned as a trait from last time's reading. The Admiral said, you can, come and go. If you don't need to be here, you can just wander away from your post. So,
right.
So they're seeing a lot of that.
But he informs the president. He just says, they seem to just be interested in making new friends and doing a lot of trade. I believe they are being honest, sir. Which, if just by saying that, a real author would be indicating some sort of skepticism or possible twist coming. But this is what you see is what you get on your face value here from Dale M. Courtney.
Well, you delegate and then you just let it go, right? If you micromanage, you can't. You're going to be way less efficient of a nation. He made him the admiral of all things in space, and this is so he's got to trust him. And he says after he says talks went great, sir. And he said, "Thank God, Admiral. I was hoping you were going to say that. Now I know I picked the right man for the job. I have no follow-up questions.
Right.
You don't think they're just insinuating themselves in and then they're going to conquer us easily? Like,
right. Yeah, because they did mention colonizing. So. They did. I heard that. All of Earth heard that. There's cities are burning.
Nope. You're doing a great job. Carry on.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone has ever been, when Eisenhower came back from D-Day, if Wilson was just like, now I know I picked the right man for the job. It's like, was there a question? Because, sort that out before you appoint a 4-star general. It's not, it shouldn't be like, I bought a TV and I was uncertain if I got like the one with the right color profile until I, watched 2001. And now I think I made the right decision.
Do you think that Wilson was terribly concerned about that?
I don't know who the president was. Who was the president? FDR?
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Look, it was...
God damn it.
All right. So chapter 16.
So yeah, chapter 16, I will say this on that last note about Wilson. I'm in a trivia league online.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I woke up, you see your results in the morning, and I woke up and saw the day before I'd only been credited with one correct answer. And I knew I had gotten 2 because like there were 2 ones that were easy. So I looked it up. I was about to write an angry letter, and I looked it up, and it was essentially like, who is the most famous in all of literature, like rotund donkey riding squire. And so I knew the answer, but I looked it up, and I had written Pancho Sanza. Instead of Sancho Panza, and it was the most frustrating way not to get credit for an answer that you knew the answer to. So
yeah, that's a good pull, but fumbled at the goal line.
Yeah. Well, chapter 16 is just called Star Wars. It's the second to last chapter, and it was at the beginning of chapter 14, but it had the picture of the Death Star, which in the ebook, it has a picture of the Death Star. It has the circular, sort of indentation that is its trademark. In the book, it does not have that circular indentation. It appears it's been like photoshopped out of it.
Let me look.
It's very strange.
I have both here.
It's a very odd decision. I don't know. If it's
Huh?
So I don't know if it's a Death Star or if it's a Getty image that's different enough that they can use it. If there's some issue with the print book that he didn't want to use it for, but
Weird.
It's the decahedron conundrum all over again.
But what an opening sentence for a chapter. Wow, we're in the next chapter. I can't wait to turn the page. Some are in the constellation of Gamma Hydra the Dragon that are not so friendly, called the Archons and the Thracians. Who is it? Right. He's just talking. It's just the absolute continuation of what was happening before.
Right. And so the president he's had good things to say. He says, I know you were the right man for the job, but he also just sort of starts talking off the top of his head, it sounds like, and he has some very odd ideas. He says, Admiral, you have done a tremendous job here. I could not have done it any better myself. Also, Admiral, I wonder if we might be able to start any planetary exchange of people. They could leave some here and we could send some back with them. It's like, where on earth is he going with this? Like he's volunteering to, just have some sort of hostage trade with the people all of a sudden. He does not elaborate on what that plan would involve or what he would intend for these horrible fate these people have been sent off to. But
I don't know. There was it reminded me slightly of what was it was Rod Serling's Night Gallery. He did a show much later, same style, but not as highly regarded. But there was one where there are these hideous people who are these deformed humans, and then these aliens came and they found them to be very beautiful. So there was an exchange, and
you think
they had these. They were all ugly people, and then they accidentally had very humanoid, to steal a term from Dale M. Courtney people. And so, they made the exchange, we'll be considered normal here.
Oh, wow. Huh.
So, All
right.
Makes you think about racism and
sure. In many ways, it solved all of those problems.
Yeah.
But then the president also says this one that I thought was good. So keep in mind, they're on a 10-year mission going to Pluto and back. They're living on this thing. He says, keep on doing what you're doing, Admiral. You guys may have to work a little overtime, but it's for the good of mankind. It's like, we've isolated ourselves on a spaceship for a decade. I don't think that overtime is our main concern here.
I mean, I think you can. I have to go to a budgetary meeting.
Yeah.
I'd like you to keep overtime down.
Yes.
We do only pay time and a half. It's not double time.
Yeah. You're living on this ship for a decade, but you can only work 30 hours a week, so you don't qualify for benefits.
Right. He reports to the president. He says, about these trades, we could advance in light speed space travel overnight. Yes, you could advance in it, and that you would have it for the first time. That is quite an advance to be able to pick it out of a catalog and buy it.
Yeah, but the Thracians are shaking their fist now at their resentment, at their trespassing. They can't buy lightspeed travel, but they don't need it because their weapons are just as advanced once you take them into space.
That's right.
But then the president also demonstrates his capital Stepsian sense of humor. He says, Admiral, I didn't expect this in a million years. As a politician, I'm at a lose for words, and you don't see that much. And politicians do often talk a lot. Is my takeaway. I just looked at it and went, oh no, he peed his easy joke down his leg with a terrible typo. He was the only one that he really kind of landed, again, totally right in the middle of the road, capital steps joke, but it was there. Yes.
And then I'm at a lose for words.
Even reading it out loud, it doesn't deliver itself, even if you read it as written.
Right. Oh, Dale M., you had it. It was right there.
And then I guess he gets off the horn with the president, but then they start seeing dust showing up on the radar screen, and the Paulines think it's the Archons.
Yeah, we get into this stupid tracking things again, which bores the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I just want to, before we leave that, I want to point out what the Admiral signs off with something like, describing his trip to a very enormous ship with a museum of frozen aliens in it. Said, as an admiral of a fleet, it was like I was a kid in a candy store. I'm sure that Chester Nimitz said that after the Battle of Midway, too.
Right.
That was great. Like, we destroyed the Japanese fleet in the Pacific. We might live.
Yeah, it's not like a hard boiled your crew cut type, like jawing out Maverick or anything like that either. Tom Skerritt, like
sweating and gnawing on the nub of a cigar. No, nope, he's like, I'm like a kid in a candy store.
So they other people start showing up, and like you said, it just is it's very similar to the way it was described earlier, and they give the order. I think the Paulines take off. They take off with light speed to sort of go confront these. I'm going to paraphrase this whole battle because it was hard to make heads or tails of. So they take off. Obviously, we don't have light speed yet because our catalog order hasn't come in yet. So we have to sort of the Earthlings have to sit around and wait for them. And the Admiral says, Lieutenant Parsons, when that ship gets halfway to us, I want you to go to Red Alert. And last time we saw Red Alert, it was part of the routine launch sequence, but now it's just being used here as the traditional understanding of Red Alert to, there's an emergency battle stations type of thing. So I guess there are just only two. It's like getting a TV with two HDMI ports. You just have two settings, so you have to use them for multiple things.
I guess so, yeah, because I think they've been on Yellow Alert for a long time.
Yes, they have.
So Yellow Alert seems just
standard operating
pretty
procedure.
Chill, yeah. Just keep doing what you're doing. Go on museum tours, whatever you need to do, and then we go on Red Alert. Don't get confused and launch us again because we might be being attacked.
Right. Yes.
So just wait for further instruction. We could come up with a different word for it, but why?
But then you get more of that hard-boiled kid in a candy store vibe from the Admiral, because this is the time, men, like the battle is nigh. We've got a glimpse of the future, and now it might be coming to wipe us out. I love you all. It's been an honor to serve. He says, I hope nothing is going to hurt our arrangement with the Paulines. Just like you said earlier, we have come centuries ahead in just a couple of days. There have been so many new doors that are opening up to Earth and proof of other intelligent life forms. Unbelievable. That's why I'm considering helping the Paulines if they need it. So it's good to know that they've come, they've offered him, life-changing technology, and now he's considering throwing in if people are coming to wipe them out.
The guy left me a catalog. I mean, if I have to commit, 70,000 troops, I'm going to do it. And President, is that okay? Hey, it is your call.
Yes.
You do you. I don't know.
You're in charge of the universe. So, but then it also is weird just reading this. Like, this is, the Admiral, and the Admiral's talking to the President. He's making these speeches about maybe helping their dearest allies. But like David Brainerd has sort of just been, he's now just like the cipher through which we're viewing this all. Like, I don't know if he marched in with the Admiral to talk to the President, or if it's just sort of doesn't matter anymore, but he hasn't spoken a word in a while.
Yeah, I think he was brought on board just to monitor the little thing that was darting around. And, then otherwise he's just the wide-eyed, he's just the recruit. Yeah, right. He's just a cipher. He really has had no action whatsoever. And then he's forced to share his station, right? Yeah. Does that come up in the next chapter? I don't have a note about it. It just made me laugh. I'm going to need you to shove your desk over there.
Right. Yeah. This has been a huge mistake, high school astronomy teacher. So let the guy who knows how to run the laser cannon to make sure it doesn't overheat sit there.
Right.
But yeah, he says, the Admiral says, it appears the Paulines have positioned themselves between them and us. Sir, the Paulines are 250 million miles away from us. It took them 8 minutes and 46 seconds. It appears the Paulines put themselves out of reach, so they're 250 million miles away. Maybe on purpose. We couldn't get there if we wanted to. Admiral says, wow, that's unbelievable. Okay, Lieutenant Parsons, will you zoom the Galumpa in on the main viewer? So they have one hell of a telephoto lens on whatever the main viewer is. It's not specified if it's like a more advanced version of Zeus or not, but it's pretty incredible.
Right. And then they just kind of watch the battle, right?
Yeah. There's 3 radiations trail that comes in, which meant I hope that the Archon ships also split into 3 parts, but it's probably just more of the same.
Is that a thing?
He says there are 3 radiations trails coming, but I think that maybe just means 3 ships from the Archons.
Right.
And it gets sort of the battle descriptions, and I'll read one of them, and then it's sort of pretty much how every single the rest of the battle is described. All of a sudden, the Archon ship started attacking the Pauline ship with what looked like a red pulse weapon, and it was slamming the Galumpa repeatedly. And so this is pretty much how the battles are going to be described. Everything is what looks like something, and everything happens all of a sudden from here on out.
Right. Well, you get another bit of color. The whole crew looked like they were filled with uncertainty and curiosity. They were bored to hell and back, but they looked very excited.
Right, yes. And it also says, then it looked like the Galumpa opened up with everything they had. The Galumpa was so huge. He really just can't describe it enough. And then, just more examples I'm going to keep sharing. The Archon ship seemed to have some kind of blue magnetic field for their shields. All of these things could be just, the Archon ship had a blue magnetic field as a shield. They opened fire with a red pulse weapon, and nothing had to seem like that, because everything he's seeming is actually happening the way that, the 10-year-old understanding of sci-fi space battles operate.
Yeah, it seems like it because it is. But in that sentence you just read, the sentence before it makes for a good bookend. Both ships were taking a barrage of multiple hits, but they seem to be handling it pretty good. The Archon ship seem to have some kind of blue magnetic shield for their shields, and they were working pretty good. This is even one I just said I'm losing patience with this.
Right, yes.
Pretty good, pretty good. That's his space battle. I mean, even right, again, the axe cop thing. A little kid just doing extemporaneously while he was crashing two things together over his shoulder could come up with a better battle.
Yeah.
Then this one bears down on this one. Is like, boo, 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 boo,
yeah,
take that, and the pieces of it are blowing up, and he's like, no. And this is everything seemed to be going pretty good, and this was pretty good too.
And so what it is his battles are. Two ships, come to each other. They point at each other, and they just start unloading lasers at each other. There's no swooping. There's no tactics. There's no evasive action. It just is it's if you're bad at a video game, that's what you do. If you have unlimited quarters, you just swoop in, hit the fire button, you die, you put a new one in because you're not good enough to try to maneuver around the other one.
It's what I did when any kind of fighting game, which were outside of my I just didn't do any, but an arcade game of any fighting at all. I just mash the button. I had no. That's all. That's my only move. So that's all they're doing is just mashing their buttons. He has no ability to even as so this is a consultant, right, of national security.
Yeah,
he has no history of famous P-38 fighting techniques or anything. That their ship swooped to the left, but because it has a more powerful engine, it was able to pull up, circle around. It dove on one wing to slow its speed down and came in behind the enemy. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, and the chapter is called Star Wars. It's a decent chance he may not have seen Star Wars because even in that you have things, moving left and right as they chase each other. That's, stay on target. That famous edict from Porkins is there's nothing to stay on target to because all you're doing, you're not even moving.
Well, there is a pretty, maybe you'll have to take it back after I describe this maneuver. The Galumpa would just keep rotating the ship away from the damaged areas, let's say possessive areas, because it was round. It worked really well. So there is some high-level technique. You just had to wait and be a little patient for it.
So he's, the Galumpa, I believe, is a Death Star. That's my understanding. So there's, people at the back of it that are, away from all the action, and all of a sudden they're like, well, at least, the front is taking some damage. They all of a sudden detect that they're rotating. You're rotating us towards the pounding, at least, let half of us survive.
Sorry, section G20. What we do is we number the sections by letter and by number. So sorry, but you're going to be rotated into the stream of fire. So you might want to pen a quick letter to your loved ones.
Yeah. The people of section G20 seemed pretty upset by that news.
Everyone was upset. Then everyone started firing at them.
This is a... We get the pulse weapon was pretty strong looking. They wouldn't stop hammering each other. The Galumpa just kept taking it and firing all their weapons right back at the 4 Archon ships. And all of a sudden, the first Archon ship started losing its shield, and then it exploded. So that happened all of a sudden. Everybody on Lunar Base 1 was cheering. So this it is just like that. You shoot it enough, and then one of them will eventually explode. And in this situation, fortunately, it's always the bad guys.
A lot of cheering too. I was happy to see the cheering returning in unison.
Yeah, so he's seen that in a movie. He just hasn't seen the space battles leading up to it.
Right. He fell asleep. This is a command, I believe, from the Admiral. Lieutenant Fisher, are you ready on your weapons? Yes, sir. What would you like to be your primary weapon, sir? Like, are you really ready with your weapons if you don't even know which ones you're using?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did have to ask what language they wanted to send the communication in earlier in this section. So.
And then when he gives him the order, like, I want the red lasers. Like, oh yeah, that's a good hour to warm those up.
Why weren't you warming them up when you were asking what weapon to use?
Well, because I'm ready in the sense, but you didn't tell me which your primary was.
In the sense that I am logged into my net. Oh, it timed out while I was talking to you. I got to log back in. 1 second. Okay, now it is.
However, sir, I've got some good news for you. We have a Daisy Red Rider here, and those work very well in space, sir. So
yes.
That would actually be a good twist, but unfortunately.
Oh my god! Yeah, if they did, anything would have been a good twist. If anything happened, it would have been a good twist, as opposed to exactly what you think might happen, and then it happens, and then it ends. Except, well, I wasn't expecting this to happen. I wasn't expecting them to sell their friends out so quickly. I think Admiral says, Lieutenant Courtney, get ready to send a message in English to the Archons. What was the other option? Klingon or Esperanto? In the message, tell them that we are peaceful and do not wish to fight them. Also, tell them that this dispute is between the Paulines and the Archons, not us. So the Paulines must be like, well, we're getting a word from the guys who just gave the catalogs to that they don't really want to throw in here. They say this dispute is between us and not them. So screw those guys.
Thank you, new friends. That catalog I left with you is no longer operative, obviously.
Yeah. We are canceling the 20% off your first order coupon we gave you as well. That code will no longer be valid.
Good luck traveling light speed, a-holes.
And I have a note that says, man, this sure is the hard way to test these shields. I thought that first might be something I put, but I'm pretty sure that's an actual excerpt from the book.
That is the last line of chapter 16. That is the Admiral, I believe. I had to go in the ebook. It is just hanging out there as a sentence with it is an island of madness. So I had to dive into the actual paper book to understand. And even then it's sort of confusing because it doesn't sound like it's it's not in the same syntax or anything. It's just him like, I guess he's just rubbing a hand over his face and mumbling to himself. Man, sure is a hard way to test these shields.
Yeah. Hopefully he's still reserving some of that good vibe from being like a kid in a candy store, though. Yes.
Oh, chin up, Admiral.
Yeah,
you're going to be fine.
That'll
President
get him through
has full faith in you still.
Yeah. When 33% of your crew is dead, go back to that happy place.
Right. So that's all I got for 16.
Yeah, me too. Chapter 17 is The New Age, and it is the last chapter of the book. There are 3 pages left in the book as we turn to chapter 17. And it's pretty much like every chapter. It's a continuation of the battle. So, I mean, as we got here, I sort of realized, like, well, I don't think we're getting back to Chiral. I don't think Kathy Rigby and the other boy are making an appearance, and there's not going to be a resolution here. We're going to sort of just be leaving with a lot of questions unanswered. So
huge disappointment. No Kathy Rigby and Billy.
Yeah.
Can you pull his
Crud up?
name?
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't that, but it wasn't anyone famous. Billy.
Billy something, but yeah, and Chiral.
Yeah.
That is a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
What if it would be like the Mister without Bleriana resolution.
Right. Yeah, well, unthinkable. And that's, I guess if that can happen in a best-selling, soon-to-be best-selling book, soon-to-be movie, it can happen anywhere.
Right.
Did we talk about this? That Chiral is his wife.
Yes, we did talk about it in the last
someone
episode, I believe.
Someone did a bit more digging just to confirm, that this is a real person, real wife. There aren't many pictures of him, but he does exist in New Smyrna Beach, Florida,
and he does have a wife named
Chiral. Yeah,
Chiral. Is there? If we could get a telephone number, could we just get a
call and hang up?
Just do a call and see if the message. Hi, you've reached Dale and Chiral.
Yeah. David and the old lady. So
damn it.
If you want to leave a message for me, David, you can press 1. If you want to leave a message for the one who really runs the house, you can press 2. And
but seriously, I'm going to turn it over to the warden now. No, she's not here. This chapter 17.
Hey, C, you have any messages?
Hey, babe. A great opening sentence to 17. Can you read it? Do you have it there?
I do. 1 second. Then the Archon ship started to arrive.
How does something? How does that work?
Materializes out of thin air,
started to arrive.
I suppose if I got in the car and drove to meet you in Minnesota, I would be starting to arrive the moment I left the house, or when I crossed the state line.
We already knew the Archon ship was underway to them, so that had already started to arrive. At what point when you're watching the Titanic pull into Liverpool or what have you, does it start to arrive?
At least an airplane, begins our initial descent. So
yeah, okay. Well, I guess maybe just when it leaves the embarkation point. I don't know. Anyway, it's a weird way to state that I've never seen before in the English language. So.
Right. But at least you get a good mental image of the ship when it starts to arrive. It was as big as our ship. It was shaped like a single wing that was curled downward on each end of the wing with a bulge on top and bottom in the middle. So
that was my dumb sentence. But,
man,
it is amazing.
It took me a while, so I think
challenge anyone to come up with that.
I think it's just how a kindergartner draws like a bird, essentially. Like an M,
shaped like a single wing. So a single wing being
the wings on those birds, like it's a parabola. It's an arc.
Well, do you think when you think of a single wing on a plane, though, because we're talking about a spaceship here,
right?
You're talking not about the two wings as a single unit. You're talking about the left wing of a plane,
right? Yeah. So it's asymmetrical.
So it was curled downward on each end of the wing. Okay, yeah. I can picture that. So there are wings that are actually shaped like that.
Yes.
Okay, with a bulge on top and bottom in the middle. So he's just describing that the bulge is in the middle.
Yeah, so it's like I would draw it as there's an orb in the middle. That's where all the people is. Their museum is probably there, and then the wings are just what sticks out and then curves down.
Okay, but it's an asymmetrical because it's a single wing. So
one wing expands outwards, and then on the right. So
the one end has goes to bolt holes and everything where it would normally attach to the side of a craft,
right?
But it's just curled down. Okay, all right, I got it.
So we harped on it before when they decided they had all this deliberation about what ship on the English-speaking ship they would send the messages to. But it says, "Sir, we are receiving a message, and the computer and I do not understand the language. What would you like me to do?" Let's just pick about 3 different languages and just keep repeating the same message, Lieutenant. So I just have 8 question marks.
When I got to it.
Let's pick about 3 different languages. Do you want me to pick 2, sir? 4? And so they're going to what our joke was earlier, Farsi, Esperanto, and Swahili. and we'll just keep blasting those messages at them. If you have the ability to send any message, any language, you would probably just say like send a message in every language in the system, not just keep shipping them Cajun over and over again.
Yeah, it's essentially the tourist speaking louder,
Yes.
Like, where is the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah. Yeah. Admiral, make elaborate hand gestures and point exaggeratedly to indicate what we want.
Where is this hard? The Eiffel Tower. Yeah. So that's what sending that messages would be like. We get a description here. If you'll indulge me, it's like a paragraph, but I think it's worth reading. It is, it's jaw-droppingly stupid. This is the description of the battle.
Okay.
Then everyone was firing everything they had. It was unbelievable. The Archon's weapons were pounding us. They seemed to be focusing more on Commander Kraft's ship section, but to our amazement, the shields were holding.
Phew.
Then the shield started to give on Commander Kraft's ship. And just then, it started taking a lot of damage. But he just kept firing his weapons. Then finally, the Archon's ship started to lose their shields. And then all of a sudden, it just exploded. The explosion was so great, it pushed all three ship sections
comes out of nowhere.
Back about 2 miles in space, but their shields held. Then everyone shouted, "Yeah!" So,
wow.
That is...
Yeah. So things happen in just the span of sentences. It's the exact same button mashing. And earlier he said every time you could feel the pounding on our ship. It felt massive. Every time it hit us, it seemed like the ship moved backwards about 10 feet in space. So you have this linear backwards, you have and 10 feet, which on the size of this ship is negligible. But then 2 miles after all that happens, that's man. But yeah, I loved that the shields were holding until they started to give way. Like, oh man, it's so bad.
Oh, but I just picture everyone shouting, "Yeah!"
Well, that pays off. I mean, I guess the simultaneous speak is that's the one thing that was teased at the beginning and happens at the end.
I wish someone had said, "To Red Lobster." Yeah.
Yeah, and Archons explode, and then we get more battle description. The other Archon ships just kept slamming the Galumpa with a barrage of their weapons. It looked like the end of the Galumpa. Then there were about 40 flashes of light all around the battle scene. And those 40 flashes are more Pauline ships appearing. And then I sort of just started to summarize it because it's very similar to that. You just get all the Archon ships explode in about under a page.
Mm-hmm.
And the Galumpa has they've rotated around and maybe a quarter of it is damaged, he says.
Mm-hmm. The little pieces are flying off of it.
Yeah, right. And but it's even a quarter that's 2.5 kilometers in diameter. So that's still nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, they're tall, slender, wire hair covered bodies. A lot of them have been lost.
But then once all the Archon ships explode, everyone on Lunar Base 1 started to yell. No onomatopoeia there, though. Cheer and applauded loudly, and so did Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I guess, Earth watched Commander Kraft's shields hold and then give way, and so there was tension. But then they probably joined in the cheering as well when that first Archon ship exploded because Commander Kraft mashed the button so well.
Yeah, that we'll picture going forward. That is the standard cheer that everyone does simultaneously.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a great sentence. We tried not to fight, but they were still mad about the first 2 of their ships that got destroyed the last time we met, and they opened fire on us. We had no choice but to defend ourselves. I just think, I mean, in a simple way, warring factions are often just kind of mad at each other. It is true. The Turks and the Armenians, they're just, I don't know. I don't like those guys. I'm a little peeved.
Right. It's the equivalent of someone calling you a dipshit after you tweet something. You get kind of mad, or someone rear ends you in traffic. You get out. You're like, man, like, That guy's mad. Oh boy.
Ooh, stay away from him for a couple of millennia.
But yeah, and they did met, and they open fired on us, which is you got to hand it to them. Like, if someone opens fire on you, like, I guess that's a we all know how that works, and he opened fired on us.
They were mad. We're almost at the end of this baby. I'm like,
yeah, we are. It's we pretty much break it down. So the Archons are totally destroyed. No words from their friends, the Thracians, who didn't throw in. They might have found someone that they needed to bite to put to sleep. So that could be where they are. But the Admiral gets on the horn to Captain Tudmoke. He says, yes, we did have a lot of casualties on the Galumpa. We almost were destroyed. Hey, but we seen you had some trouble too, Admiral. Your ships were very impressive, especially that laser of yours. So it's like it's like a good game line after a softball game, where it's like, yeah, we'll rub some dirt on it, like, but where we're getting beers after this was done. It's like a quarter of your 10-kilometer ship. It has to be thousands of people, and maybe they are advanced enough that they're like, yeah, we'll recreate them. We have a short gestation time, so they'll be back on their feet in no time. But
Captain Tudmoke, 3 of your sons have been confirmed dead, sir, and one is hanging right in the
All
balance.
right. Yeah, but happy hour stops at 7, so we got to get there if we want the quarter wings.
Honestly, sir, still there are people in the ward. We don't have enough doctors.
I am starting the car. If you're not going to get in, you can find your own way to Buffalo Wild Wings.
The floor is slippery with blood. We're throwing sand down, but we're losing our footing.
Okay. But they sort of end with this speech about ignoring all the death, all the destruction, the countless family members killed. Admiral Benson is just like, we're so happy for you too, Captain. That was a great battle. We are sorry for all of your casualties, though. We hope everything is still on with us. So he's immediately like, I had my heart set on that hyperwarp drive, so I hope this doesn't put any...
Protect your national interests. He is thinking he's doing the right thing there.
Right.
Give him a little nod towards, I'm sorry about your casualties. Like, I don't care. I mean, those guys are so ugly. Who
they
cares?
Were gross, yeah. But he also was probably like, and Admiral, I am actually in charge of all of known space according to the president, so that includes your planet. So, I mean, he outranks Tudmoke too. So it's
yeah. We will have words soon. I mean, take a couple minutes, clean up your ship, and I will be taking over.
He does sort of exhibit a little bit of that. He says, we also want to thank you for protecting our world. They could have done a lot of damage to us, and now maybe they respect us a little. And it's like, well, they're either extinct or they're just vowing massive revenge because they are super mad now. Like,
that was 1/100th of our fleet.
Yes. Who has they don't have the sticks. They haven't mastered hyper or light speed, but they do have some pretty good weapons, I think he said. So
right. This is an extinction level event that is coming your way, but continue to chat about the meals you've had and whatnot.
And then, I think they sort of end it with a speech if you don't have anything else.
Well, I love parts of the speech. I believe this is Tudmoke. Yeah. Remember, we are monitoring your satellites, and we will know if they come back. And we also watch the stars pretty good, too. So... which stars are you watching, and what does that have to do with
we just protecting us? We take a glance up there. There's like an observatory night, but it's mostly an excuse to get together and drink some beers. We don't really look.
Me and my son, there's a campsite down by the St. Croix River, and we just pitch a tent there. We have a couple beers, and we lay on our backs and just watch the stars pretty good, too. So
he bought one of those Zeus's. He's sort of saying he's getting into photography, so he's looking up some YouTube videos about how to use it best. He's mostly just using it to try to peek into the girls' locker room on foreign planets. So he's a rascal.
I'll let you read the what kind of friendship that was made that day. I assume you have that as a
okay. We hope we can become good friends in the future. Then Captain Tudmoke said, "I know we will be. It's in the stars, Admiral. And don't worry, we will take care of that speed problem with your spacecrafts." And then it shifts into a weird, third person. Maybe it's David. Our worlds that day joined into a friendship that was pure gold.
And the final line of the book.
Hopefully they don't. Hopefully that's not that's not the equivalent of dog crap for the Paulines.
Right.
But and Earth moved into a new age when space travel launches us into the age of Aquarius. Air quotes around that.
Earth moved into a new age when space travel launches us into
the age of Aquarius. I just thought it was only missing a James Tice, long live the Galumpa, 4 exclamation marks. I would have been happy to see that, but
the gold relationship was that made me laugh hard.
Yeah,
he probably had in his mind, make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver, and the other is pure gold.
Or Stay Golden Pony Boy from
that could be
movie that was. Yeah. But I guess good to know. I'll buy some gold today if it's still that valuable and renowned in 28 years.
Well, especially hoard it for when the Paulines get here and they need it.
That's the end of the book. No super things resolved. No return to Earth, and we haven't even ventured on their journey to Pluto. That I guess is going to be a lot quicker now that they are going to be in theory gifted light speed.
Mm-hmm. Setting up the Red Lobsters in space, we get
Oh man, the franchising opportunities, yeah.
Exactly. If you could go at light speed and set one up on Pluto, I mean, you'd be back in a month, right?
And especially since every race on the planet, even if they're vicious dog creatures or whatever, are pretty much still humanoid and like to eat the same things we do, even if they have dumb names for it. So
I'm looking at the ebook, and I don't want to get too far into this. I commend this to people. The ebook, it's very, very curious. Yeah. It has a whole bunch of stuff at the end of it. It gives the beginning thing, the summary that Lauren went through.
Yeah.
That's in here twice after it.
Word count.
And then all of the formatting things are in here. He left in the author's cover biography, 100 words max, is part of the book.
So that was like a template that
he
downloaded an ebook template
is in here, and then author's dedication, 100 words max, is in here, and then book summary, 100 words max, which we've already had, and that was way over 100 words.
Yeah,
and then author biography, 2,000 words max. And that one is pretty long, and so I commend it to you. I'll just read one. Then 2 years later, my only son was born. He was a strutting buck. We named him Charles Earl Courtney. Then we migrated to the Ormond Beach, Florida, where I had a hobby of making global economic equality, quotes, and foreign policies, quotes, for years. But I never thought I would be able to use it for anything. But lo and behold, the wrong lo, we went to war with Iraq and Afghanistan because of 9/11. I remember it was April 1st, 2007, when President Bush came on the airway and was asking for ideas on the Iraq and Iran problem. At the time, Iran had 15 British soldiers hostage. Well, one thing for sure, I've always have an idea.
Holy crap.
And then I'll just one more. I'm a firm believer that a simple idea, capitalized, can solve everything. Well, I was lucky because my idea worked, and from there on, I gave about 50 more ideas, and I'm still going. Many of my ideas worked after that. Then I wrote a couple of books.
So my takeaway is he is sending packages to the White House that are, of course, getting intercepted and incinerated with ideas in them. Yes. Like when someone is like, Trent Reznor, he ripped off the band demo I sent him for the album The Fragile or something, and it's like it's that sort of odd sickness.
Yeah, he keeps it maybe at a level where it's infrequent enough where he doesn't get the visits from the Secret Service.
Yes.
He might get an email like, please cease and desist, as we've told you many times before. None of these ideas are getting to. But if he sends like 2 in a month, there's like a knock on his door. And Mr. Courtney, please, sir.
Yeah.
Can we have a few minutes of your time?
Hey, I just really think that they're good ideas. Yeah, it's sort of, he's like a Bob Honey type of guy, actually. But
hey, babe, the Secret Service is here. I think so. I'm probably gonna be working at the White House.
See, get out here. But the other thing he said was, what was the line about his hobby? His hobby was what? I never thought my hobby of.
Okay, I've moved
like
off
global,
Oh, the quote, the air quoted things.
Yeah, I don't know.
Global economic equality and foreign policies.
He described that as his hobby, right? He never thought that could lead to a career.
That.
Right. So that's like, people say that. They're like, oh, I'm so lucky. Like my hobby was building Lego structures, and now I'm a Lego master brick designer. I'm so lucky to turn my hobby into my career. His hobby is, that's like, our friend Adam, who would be like, I had a hobby of doing, research on the E. coli virus and trying to adapt that into, strains where people could, do fecal transplants in order to possibly cure cancer. I'm so lucky I turned that hobby into my career by getting a PhD and, a postdoc in this lab at UCSD.
Right. Well, also his... there are other people who have hobbies of making global economic equality. Their names are, Pol Pot and Lenin and Stalin.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
My hobby is manifesto writing in a cabin, and I'm just glad to be able to.
One more question to you about the biography. Where do you think he met Chiral Yvonne Ball?
Oh man, it's got to be. It's got to be at a singles event at in some sort of place in Florida, I would say.
It is in Florida. Unfortunately, a little bit vague. I met my future wife-to-be at a party in Miami.
Okay, well.
But wait, there's more information.
That's a happening place.
That I went to.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah. So it wasn't like he was on Earth observing this party through the well-known observation systems all Miami parties have.
No. And man, this thing gets into the Muriel Flotilla, the Cuban refugees.
Wow.
His MOS was a 45 M20, which meant aircraft armament subsystem repairman.
What? What does MOS mean?
He was
role?
working with Huey Cobras.
Wow. Oh man. Did this guy serve in the military? What's your percentage? Or is this just a vague?
He says after the Army, I went to college for 2.5 years. Now get this. From 6 p.m., 12 p.m., 5 nights a week.
Oh.
And I worked during the day.
Well, I mean, sure, a lot of people do that, but that is a oddly specific time frame.
Anyway, I commend the whole ebook to all.
Yeah, that is worth a read. I'll have to I'll cue that up because man, that's information I wish was included in the paperback one. But yeah, I guess you got to keep that page count down to every page is like 0.03 cents. So
right, and you get the a color picture of him.
Oh, no. Well, that's on the back cover of the other one too. So
it is in full color. I was for some reason. Yep, I got it right here.
So that guy walked into a party in Miami. You had some like reggaeton or like 2 Live Crew booty bass blaring. People are wearing their guayaberas, and that guy walks in and across the room locks eyes with Chiral, and the rest is history.
Yep. And very oddly the description, the Moon People description, is in 2 places after. I don't understand. It must have just been the format issue. Yeah. Cut and paste issue.
Leaving the word counts in is a chef's kiss that, again, I do not think if you were making this up you would do. It's exactly. Like James Wynn leaving the Getty image watermarks on the on the images in his movie. Man.
Oh, and being so specific about the children and everything. I'm a little
Young buck.
I'm skeeved out by that part.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the author. I think we can probably move on to our final dumb sentence of the week from People.
A sentence begins with a capital letter. A capital letter is a letter that's big. A capital letter is not a small letter. A capital letter is big, big, big. A sentence ends with a period or an exclamation.
Hard to believe we were able to farm any dumb sentences out of this section.
I know.
But there probably someone did good work for us. So what do we got?
Absolutely. The first one comes in from Tim. He said this is more than one sentence, but he claims you've done this in the past too. So
I give you license. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I give you license.
It says, "Sir, the Archon ship just turned visible." And right when he said that, the Archon ship became visible on the main viewer. So the viewer's got a little bit of a lag on it. It's got some hang time. This is from Jamie, a Patreon supporter. "They are way advanced of us. I think that..." Sorry, I was reading it like a normal person would interpret the sentence. "They are way advanced of us. That's why I think they're legit, sir." He says
that was my dumb sentence.
Oh man, because he says they say somehow the admiral of the official national space fleet telling the president of the U.S. that something is legit is the most bizarre and unbelievable thing to happen in the book. Brian, another Patreon supporter, "Suddenly one of the Archon ships veered off of the Galumpa and started coming toward the Lunar Base 1. David, sir, one of the Archon ships has veered off the Galumpa and is starting to come towards us." I didn't even really notice that. I think my brain was just sort of like, interpreting the action without having it happen and then having a character describe that it's happening to someone else.
You were at that time stunned by descriptions of eggplant Parmesan. There is no
yeah, my mouth was watering. This one is from Jens. It says, "But sir, when I try to isolate it, it shows nothing. It shows something going about 150,000 miles an hour." So a lot of these are either confirmations or contradictions in back-to-back sentences. This one is, I think we discussed this one, but it's, I think the Paulines. "We were attacked more than once by the Archons, and we had to defend ourselves, and they lost a couple of ships that they are a little resentful about, but it was in self-defense." So they went from resentful to mad. So you do have these emotions ratcheting up. This one is Harris. "He got through pretty easy because the president was waiting with anticipation." He says, "I don't know where to begin, but pretty easy is a good start." A lot of things were pretty in this book, right? Pretty fast, pretty hard, pretty pounding.
Oh yeah. Pretty soon, yeah. He ended a lot of sentences with the same thing. They handled it pretty well.
Yes, yeah. Pretty good. This is from Lucas. "We have developed light speed, and we have colonized hundreds of worlds all over the world." And he had the same reaction that we did to that of the colonizing. It gets worse. He says, "We are a peaceful people, more or less." He says they admit to conquering hundreds of worlds and claim to be peaceful. "I'd be angry if I wasn't certain DMC doesn't know what a colony is." Janelle submitted this. "The Galumpa just kept taking it." She says, "Is there a single sexiest sentence in all the books we've read?" Yanni submitted or Star King of the Beast, and my name in short is Captain Tudmoke. Or Star King of the Beast, and my name in short is Captain Tudmoke. I don't know what in short means in that area, because Captain Tudmoke appears to be his name.
If I wish he had expanded upon it, and it was like a super long name, he took his father's name, his mother's. It was hyphenated like 17 times. Yes. But in short, it's this.
Right, yeah. Our alphabet is unpronounceable to you, and one character could fill your book War and Peace. However, to get beyond that, just call me Captain Tudmoke. This is from Patreon supporter Mike. "They look like they were just solid muscle." So that's how we had a good laugh about that earlier, because muscle is spelled like the shellfish. This is from another Patreon supporter, Mikkel. The inside of the alien ship looked similar to ours, but the rooms were much higher and bigger, probably because of their spelled wrong height. I'm going to take the leap that the usually omniscient, usually first-person narrator is unwilling to make. Yes, the interior design is due to the size of those who designed it, Mikkel writes. This next one is from Adam, who Adam is recovering from an operation, so we are wishing him the best. However, he says that he's going to take the time as he's recovering to finish reading Shadow Moon, which I would not recommend this on anyone weakened, anyone in sort of a bad state. It's, but best of wishes to you. We can't endorse that, however.
We're actually going to call your doctor and make sure that does not happen.
Yeah, or our lawyers and make sure that we are the policy covers this sort of bad decision. But he said, "We see you had some trouble too, Admiral," too spelled wrong. So he says, "I have some trouble admiring at the best of times. I feel like Clippy made a comeback in the age of Aquarius. We see you have some trouble too, Admiral." And final one from our listeners is Tom, who said, "Admiral Benson, I would also like to give my first combat promotion." And he's like, so Admiral Benson got a combat promotion for having a friendly phone call with the Paulines? I bet the last guy who got a combat promotion for the president is single-handedly taking out 3 machine gun nests. Single-handedly taking out 3 machine gun nests with a pistol is pretty annoyed right now. Yeah, so a lot of those people were our Patreon supporters, patreon.com/372 pages. We have a meme contest running I got to announce the winner of. We'll take a look at those. And they're always the first to hear about new books. So you can join that to get wind of the next new book. You can get every episode early, and we have fun on there in between the episodes as well.
Yes, indeed. There's a lot of stuff goes up there. A lot of stuff happens on Patreon. It's an active place.
Yeah, it's a good community, and there's a Discord chat that people are always having new sorts of realizations or riffs on. There's a fan art channel of there. We appreciate everyone who supports us on there. It makes it a lot more fun to do this. What was your dumb sentence? Or
mine is a bit of a cheat. I'm looking at the ebook, and I'm in his. I believe it's the 2,000-word max section of his author biography. He was in Korea. I'm just setting the stage, and he wanted to see Jaws.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
Yes, I remember the first book that I really enjoyed in Korea was Jaws. This is not my sentence. I'm just setting this up for you. I remember the 2 things I really wanted to do when I got back to the U.S. of A. was to watch the movie Jaws. That was the 2 things he wanted to do. But now I'll get to it. Also, I wanted to eat a quarter pounder with cheese and everything on it at McDonald's. So it's, I mean, I guess you could eat it at Burger King. That would be, I mean, people probably do that all the time as a little weird act of rebellion, but
right, yeah, take it in.
Yeah.
Or you call up, Domino's. You're like, I want a meat lover's pizza. They're like, sir, that's trademarked by Pizza Hut. You can have our meat-o-rama. Yes.
But a quarter pounder with cheese and everything on it at McDonald's. Wow. What is everything on a quarter pounder?
I don't know that you are given options for what to put on a quarter pounder. I think it's the chopped onions, pickles, lettuce,
it's pretty loaded up, right?
Not lettuce, mustard and onions. Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Well, he did. Spoiler alert: he got to do them both. He was able to see Jaws and have a quarter pounder. So, unlike many Americans, what a lucky man.
I know. Yeah. Well, it's you when you're deprived of those things, they can start tasting pretty good to you, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So that's my cheating dumb sentence.
Mine was just the Admiral started talking with the President of the United States, just because it set the stage for the dumbness. It's the childlike simplicity of it. It's it's a funny thing that, again, like they're encountering these people and it's assumed to be a space station that speaks for the Earth as a whole, but he's still the guy that you call.
Right. And then he's waiting eagerly by the phone.
Yes, right. He got through pretty easy.
Nothing else going on. No. Yeah, no, I have time. Totally.
Let me just put down this quarter pounder that I got from Carl's Jr. Don't tell anyone. Well, I think we can conclude with some emails. We have some, not too many. So I think if people have final thoughts they want to share with us, we can maybe do a final email bag, but we can, and maybe we haven't discussed this, but if anyone reads a bit further in this series, we haven't discussed if we're going to do any more of this. So, but if you have any further thoughts, and send us in, but we do have some emails we can.
Nothing but praise, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, some people wrote in and said, like, I've loved this book more than anything in a long time. Please do the next couple. And I'm not sure. We'll see about that. But yeah, people did praise. People had more in our line of people to compare him to. You compared DMC to Jack Kerouac earlier. Gina writes in and says, add Charles Dickens to your list. He switched back and forth between third and first person in Bleak House.
Oh, I have not read Bleak House.
No, more obscure. But she says, now I need to go wash my brain out for even thinking of that comparison. Poor Dickens. Here we have one from Harris who asked, here's my big takeaway question for you two. How come the wide-eyed, optimistic Pollyanna-ish, I would go with that, of Titus Uno and Moon People seems cute and genuine, while in Ernest Cline books it seems fake and cynical? None of the characters in any of the 4 books feel real, but as ridiculous as they are, you believe that Courtney and Thrash live in a world where everyone is or could be friends because they believe people are inherently kind. Cline kind of does the same thing, where it's a world of man-children who only want to play video games and quote Star Wars, but something feels absent. I want to say part of it is the Cline books are the big-budget alternatives to the small indies of Titus Uno and Moon People, but that can't be the whole answer. Do you find the humanity in the Cline-verse to be hollower?
That's a big question. I don't know. There's something about him and his writing that's just much more off-putting to me. Mm-hmm. It seems to be trying for something. He's trying to be cool by putting on a leather jacket and riding his motorcycle around, right? And you just know that he's not. There's a genuineness to these other people that this is just what they are. That's what they can do. So you take it at face value as opposed to it's a pose rather than a genuine. Yeah. And the context matters too, in terms of these guys wrote these books. They probably thought that maybe their like brother-in-law would begrudgingly read it. And they're just, regular-ish guys going about their day, retweeting pictures of cheerleaders and stuff, as opposed to the sheer amount of vetting and promotion and money poured into something like Ready Player One, which is, to reward that level of garbage and not this level of garbage seems relatively arbitrary. You can't take it out of the context of that it was making the my top book of the year list for many, many people suckered by that.
Right.
The worst prose. I mean, his prose almost as garbage as any of these guys.
Right. Yeah. He had a person, correcting the typos and stuff like that. But I think also you look at the you could imagine what Ernest Cline would be like in real life, because you've encountered people like that. You've probably encountered people like Dale M. Courtney and Dwight David Thrash in real life too, and they're just sort of a quiet, odd guy at the office who probably keeps to himself. But it's much more obnoxious to hang out with someone whose values are as warped as a 50-year-old guy who's like I'm building a DeLorean Funko Pop or something. It's like, leave me alone, man. Like we don't need to have this discussion. So I think
are these authors, your Courtneys and your Thrashes, you would find out 3 years into working with them that that guy wrote a book,
right?
Like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, he seems so. You look at his Garanimal clothing and his. His soft-soled, crepe-soled shoes, and I never would have thought. Like, man, he was like a economics major, and he influenced public policy. What?
Yeah, yeah. As opposed to Ernest Cline walks in the room, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that guy has a lady hawk tattoo." I don't need to know anything more about him, but I can already pick up on that fact.
For sure, he's bought a replication of Robbie the robot that he has in his living room.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's my answer to that in general. It's part of its context, part of it's the real life impact of the two authors.
Right. Yep.
This email is from Lucas. He said, I'd like to submit something that may have gone under the radar. In chapter 14, it said that the Paulines, that their arms and legs looked elongated. Think about it. Their limbs are long, then it's not that much of a stretch to deduce that their hands must be long as well. After all, it would look weird if these giant, long aliens had tiny human hands. Therefore, I think it is possible that Moon People is yet another book in the 372 pages canon to feature long hands. Make of this what you will.
Excellent point. Yes. Wow.
I think now it's probably more books with long hands or fingers than books that did not.
Is this another Biter Meinhof thing where we
now
saw
you see it
once?
Everywhere? Yeah.
I don't know. Is there now? If I pick up let's say I pick up a Bleak House, will there be long hands in it?
Yeah, that should go into the if you're suggesting a book from here on out, does it have long fingers? Point in its favor. So
right, weird.
This is another one. This is another thing of who it reminds him of. Andy thought I'd add to my analysis of Dale M. Courtney's writing style by saying that he reminds me of Throw Mama from the Train. This is not. I've heard of that, but I don't know what it is.
I have never seen it.
It's a movie. Yeah. So Billy Crystal's in it. He says specifically, it's the lack of research into actual space travel that might have added proper terminology or other believable details. I thought of the submarine thriller by one of Billy Crystal's creative writing students, and this is, I guess, an excerpt. "Dive, dive!" yelled the captain through the thing. Then the captain pressed a button or something, and it dove. So I guess that's probably being played for laughs in that movie, right. But it's, indistinguishable.
Right.
This is from Blake. He specified that he is Blake, a.k.a. Movie Geek, because we read another Blake last week, and he is not that Blake. He's a Patreon supporter from way back. I thought it would be nice to have a good sentence of the week for a change. Obviously, it can't come from Moon People, as there are no good sentences, but the very bad one of "kissed for a minute and then stopped" from last week reminded me of one of my favorite sentences from The Bishop's Jaggers. This is a comic novel from 1932 written by Thorne Smith, who is most famous for Topper. And
okay. Yeah.
Okay. In this story, a bunch of society people shipwreck on an island of nudists, and our love interest characters have been having a comically antagonistic bit of wooing complicated by a lack of clothes. Finally, after a lot of hemming and hawing and manners and whatnot, she kissed the man and forgot to stop. He says, to quote Spinal Tap, it's such a fine line between stupid and clever.
Yes. Oh, that's good. That sounds in the neighborhood of a Woodhouse. So maybe I'll pick that up.
Yeah, 32 satires. And then finally, we have one from Patrick. He says, when Fax King won't come through, where does one turn? Naturally to Astrology King. For an example of why Scorpio. So he links us to some pages on it's actually astrologyking.com.
No way. So is this
yes.
a chain? Is this
I don't know if it might be a member of the family. Holy crap. I mean, it has a very similar look, a very bad website. I don't know if it's
is this like got Angel Fire, something King? Is that?
Yeah, right. It's a template for it's not the same, but yeah, it's not the same thing, but they do claim they have 8,500 subscribers to their email list. Anyway, but he wants to know why Scorpio, like why is that guiding the action in this book? He says, given Dale M. Courtney's background in astrology, the reason for the disturbance coming out of Scorpio presages war. Scorpio being crushed under the heel of Orion, the inherent nature of conflict. Additionally, the launch date of Halloween plus a few days puts one smack in the middle of Scorpio as a zodiac sign. It is the time of Scorpio with the disturbance coming out of the constellation of Scorpio, both representing conflict. Which brings it, so there's some subtext, which brings us to Hydra, from where our primary antagonists arrive. Again, turning to Astrology King, it is said to give an emotional and passionate nature, threatened by great troubles, and to cause some interest in shipping. I don't know what shipping means. So great troubles and commerce. So naturally, it is a violent, dangerous, and evil constellation from which they arrive. He says the entire book starts to make, heavy air quotes, sense when viewed from an astrological bent, and the initial synopsis even reads like a horoscope for the players in the book, light on details but seemingly forecasting everything. So I guess if you take Astrology King at face value, there is some stuff in here that makes sense, and I think based on what we know about the guy and his interest in angels and weird stuff like that, he's probably deeply into astrology.
So my splitting into three importance on that might have some connection to that. Because it seems to be the only kind of theme that he's able to weave into it.
Yeah, I mean, it does have themes, whether they're full of crap or correctly interwoven into the book is one thing, but it does have that theme.
Yes. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it for emails.
We're done.
We're done with Moon People. Yeah.
Here, you can hear me dusting my hands off.
I'll
I get
ship
to ship
these out to a lucky winner.
To a Patreon person. Yay.
But yeah, in the canon, I mean, I'd say firmly in the middle. I'm not sure if Pretty much the main question is whether you thought it was better or worse than 64 Squares. I would say that's the closest analog.
Yeah, I think I said last time that I rate it a little bit worse.
Yeah,
based on the typos, the sloppiness. Although, again, you get distance. Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, again, yes.
We're remembering to Dwight David. I'd probably want to punch him right on the tip of the nose again.
Yeah,
so
it was just
hard to say.
Yeah, it was good. It just had a little less of the absolutely mind blowing things of how did a person think about this than that book did. But all in all, I mean, just weighted towards the first half. It was a pretty pleasurable and quick read. So I'd put it right in the middle of the pack.
And thank you for making accidentally making the last reading a little lighter than the rest of them.
Yeah,
because of the ebook word count thing.
Right, that was how that happened.
That was pleasant.
It worked out well. Well, thanks again for everyone who read along with us, who emailed in, who dumb sentenced, who took the time to contribute to the community. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy doing it, and thanks for your support on Patreon.
Yeah, and we'll keep putting stuff on Patreon, and we'll decide soon. We might do a special episode on if you have final thoughts on this, if we get enough. And
send them on in.
Otherwise, we'll muse on the new book. But this is 372 pages. We'll never get back. I'm Michael J. Nelson.
I'm Connor Listoka. Long live the king.